Annie is one of the new leaders coming out in the Proving Ground set. Is it worth playing? Is it worth picking up? Well, let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Mobby here, and today I'm going to be giving you my personal deck profile for this Fury and Chaos Annie Legend. So the game plan here is to use your leader ability to throw out a lot of cheap spells and even bluff so your opponent doesn't know what you have. Then towards the late game, you have gigantic spells. You want to play them at just the right time in order to win the game. So as always, this is just my personal take. It's okay if you guys agree or disagree. Let us know what you would add or what you would remove. Take whatever you think is going to be useful for your deck and make the best one that you want. If you guys just want the deck profile, I recommend pausing the video, heading on over to my website mobbytcg.com. There you can get this deck and many others that I cover in image and text format. Let's talk about every single card, starting with the legend itself, Annie Darkchild. For this video, I'm going to be saying red and purple, but you know these as Fury and Chaos. Alright, so starter deck here. So basically nothing special here except your ability. At the end of your turn, you ready 2 runes. Now of course you can ready up to as many as you want, 2 reds, 2 purples, obviously 2. There's a couple of spells in here that are 2 specifically, so you can use that to your advantage. You know, playing your turn out as much as you want, then knowing for a fact you're always going to have that 2 runes at the end of your turn ready. Even if you don't have anything ready, once again you can bluff, your opponent doesn't know. Or if you need to play one of your higher spells, leave more up at the end of the turn, then ready up 2 to maybe have 4 or maybe even 6 ready to go. Alright, so that's the legend. Let's talk about the 3 battlefields that you could potentially be using with this legend. The first one here is called Void Gate. So basically spells and abilities affecting units at the battlefield deal 1 extra damage per instance. Meaning if you have a card that says, for example, do this twice, each one of those damages will be doing +1 damage. So of course your leader being a really nice spell leader, that's what you want to use it towards. But also keep in mind that even though this deck is mostly spells, abilities also work. So if you have another ability like a character ability or another legend you want to use that can affect this, you can use that as well. The next battlefield that we're going to be using here is the Candlelit Sanctum. So when you conquer here, meaning you win a battle, open battlefield or regular showdown, look at the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may recycle 1 or both of them. Put those you don't back in any order, meaning when you conquer, you can look at the top and sift and see what you want. I feel like this overall deck, it's a little weak in the sifting department and a little bit in the draw department, so this one will help you pretty much negate all that, grabbing all the cards that you need right away. And the last battlefield that we're going to be using here is Targon's Peak. When you conquer here, you are going to be readying 2 runes at the end of this turn. Now, it combos pretty well with your legend that already readies 2. This is a one-time thing for the conquer. However, the turn that you do conquer, you're going to be readying 4 here, and that'll give your opponent a little bit more to think about if they want to try to take that, if they want to take this battlefield for the next turn. Alright, now, the spread here that we are going to be seeing on our leader, our legend here, is going to be 8 red and 4 purple. We are running a whopping 26 red recycle power, so we're going to be running a lot of things to mitigate that. We're also running 3 purple recycle. And as always, if you guys are enjoying, please like and sub. I upload a lot of daily videos. We're going to be putting lots more duels and deck profiles. We're going to be covering every single Riftbound Legend leader from here on out, so hopefully you are here for that. So as I said, running 4 of these and 8 of these. Alright, let's talk about your 0 to highest cost here. The first one is the Seal of Rage. Now I did mention we're running 26 red recycle, so we're running 3 of these. We really want to max out and we don't want to deramp as much as possible. So this costs 0 and this one has a 1 red recycle. You usually only play this when you're going to be recycling a red for the turn anyway. Anyway, you tap as a reaction, meaning you can use it any time, which is great. You add specifically 1 red recycle used for paying power cycles. The next card that we're going to be grabbing are Pouty Poros. This one's really cool. I like this one. This one costs 2, might of 2, and it has deflect, meaning your opponent must recycle any color to choose this one with a spell or ability. Of course, deflect doesn't count big AoEs. The card specifically has to choose this card. So we're running 2 of these in here. The next one we're going to be running for our early game, it's another Poro here. This is the Mystic Poro. 2 might as well. However, this one has vision. When you play me, look at the top card of your deck, and then you can recycle it or leave it there. It doesn't say leave it there, but essentially you leave it back over there. So just like with this stage here, the one where you can look at the top and fix it up, it's the same thing with this one. Like I said, you really want to get the cards that you need at that time. So we're running these 4 for our early games. You want to find this in your opening hand, and basically you want to, as much as possible, try your hardest to conquer ASAP. Okay, so this is the first of our spells here. Now, keep in mind that this is a 2 cost, meaning it works with your leader ability if you want to just activate it at the end of your turn. However, it's also 1 power, red power. So this is a reaction. You can play it any time, which is great. Choose an enemy unit, deal 6 damage to it, unless its controller has you, the person activating it, draw 2. So this is an extremely powerful card. I would recommend you recommend using this only when you are okay with your opponent not actually letting you kill something. Use it when you want to draw, because like I said, this is a really weak-ish deck with draw. This is your best card for drawing. But if your opponent, if your opponent doesn't want to give you the draw, you can pretty much destroy something. So this is a really great card. Do a lot of mind games with your opponent and really destroy them. So we're running 3 in here. The next of your 2 spells that we're going to be running here is Incinerate. This one costs 2, no power, so really perfect. Pretty much play for free with your leader ability. This is an action though, not a reaction. So pretty much deal 2 damage to a unit at a battlefield. It's pretty weak, nice little quick attack. However, with the Void's Gate, it'll be 3 damage. And with an upcoming card later, you can increase the damage even further. So you get a lot of use out of this. So I'll let you guys know, in this Annie deck, I think we're only running around 9 spells. But that's okay, because there's another card in here that allows you to grab spells from your trash. Okay, the next card is going to be Sneaky Deckhand. So if you are going second and you end up with 3 runes, I recommend having this one in your starting hand if you can. Cost 3, 2 might, and the ability is you can play me to an open battlefield, meaning you don't have to worry, and hopefully you get one of these small guys at the beginning to conquer in 2 turns, instead your first turn going second, or I guess if you are going first and you get this anyway, it's still pretty good. You can, on turn 2, you can play this and conquer ASAP. Then once you have it conquered, you have 2 mana up, and then your opponent's like, do I want to go in there? So these are really great. I'm running 3 of these. The next of your 3 costs that we're running here is going to be the Immortal Phoenix. This one costs 3, 1 red recycle, and a 3 might. When this attacks, you have 2 mights for the attack, making it a 5 might. Then the ability is when you kill a unit with a spell, this is passively while this unit's on the field, then you may pay 1 by tapping it, one of your active runes, to play, you pay 1 tap and a recycle to play me from the trash. So this is really good, because if you already have, like for example, you can use this in many ways. Obviously just throw it out and do whatever. However, if you are holding, and this one's already in the trash, you kill a unit, and then you have some extra units up, you can throw this from the trash and add 3 might to that battle. Unfortunately, if you use it during one of your attacks and you kill something there, it'll just go to your base, unless you really hold something else. But it's super versatile. It's a really great card. Okay, next we're running 1 of these Ravenborn Tomes. This is a gear. This one costs 3. Then you can tap. So this is a regular tap, meaning not in a showdown or anything like that. This must be on your turn during an open section. You must tap this. The next spell you play deals 1 bonuses damage. Now it says the next spell you play. So even though this is not a actionable reaction, you can tap it during your turn, then continue to move on, and then you can activate a spell later on, which is pretty good. Nice. Okay, now moving over to our 3 cost spells. This one's called the Void Seeker. This one costs 3 with a 1 red recycle. This is an action. Deal 4 damage to a unit at a battlefield. Draw 1 card. Remember, we can always upgrade this, but this is really good. Really nice. You can draw a card from this. So we're running 2 of these. Let's move over to one of our first champions of the deck here. This is Annie Stubborn. This one costs 4, 1 purple recycle, 3 might. When you play me, return a spell from your trash to your hand. So I don't think you should use this as your starting champion. There is another Annie later on that I recommend. You don't want to play this ASAP either. The best thing to do is wait till you actually cast at least one spell before throwing this on the field. But anyway, that's what it does. Next off, we have Disintegrate. This one's really nice for Andy. This one costs 4, no power. This one's an action. Deal 3 to a unit, and if it kills it, you get to draw 1 card. So you have a lot of ways of, redrawing cards back, and you have a very small amount of ways to actually go back up in draw thanks to the shakedown. So hopefully you can sustain as the game goes on using stuff like this. Really great card. So we're running 2 of these. The next one is going to be Vayne. So this one is a 4 cost, 1 red recycle, and only 2 power. So this one has assault 3 when you attack, making it 5 when you attack. Then if your opponent controls a battlefield, this one can enter ready. However, to play it, it must be that. When this character conquers, you can also tap 1 to return me to the owner's hand, meaning you can reuse it over and over. So it's up to you whether or not you want to activate this or not. Basically, I'm putting it on the field because you are running a lot of spells. You have a little bit less units, so maybe a lot of the times your opponent will be having and holding stuff, so you can activate this to give you that little bit of extra oomph if you're attacking with another character, if this one isn't enough to take it over with its 5 assault. All right, time for your other Annie. This one I do recommend being your champion at the moment. 5 costs, 1 red recycle, and 4 might. Annie, Fiery. Your spells and abilities deal 1 bonus damage. So if you pair that with the Void Gate, everything's going to be plus by 2, which is awesome. Well, it's affecting units at this battlefield. But if you have this Annie on the field, it's bonus damage anyway. If this is in your base, you can affect still units at another battlefield. Super important to have and to try to keep alive. So usually you might get 2, which is super important. If you get 3, then your basic cheapest spell here, which is going to be your Incinerate, this thing will deal 5 damage for 2 for free. And if you really need to, 9 damage. Of course, your opponent can just give you 2, but, tough choice for them. Okay, let's move on over to more high-cost units. This is called the Raging Fire Brand. This one costs 6 with 1 red recycle. So many recycles, which is why we're running 3 of those really nice gears. And 4, a little weak here. However, when you play me, the next spell this turn costs 5 less. So remember, you don't have to play the spell right away. It's the next one during this turn. So you can save it for a surprise action or something like that. Super great. So you can play everything behind this for free. Pretty much Disintegrate's free. This Void Seeker's free, albeit you still need to do the power. But basically, you got a lot of spells for free with this card. Super good. Running 3 of these. All right, next off, we're running some Psy Scouts. This one costs 6. 5 might. This one has vision, meaning you play it, look at the top of your deck and recycle it or leave it there to draw later. You may play me to an open battlefield. So we're putting this in here basically because you are doing a lot of nuking with your spells, and maybe you might not have a unit at that moment to conquer. This one will let you conquer right away. So nuke something and throw this on there and conquer ASAP. Otherwise, use this to bolster and attack with other units to go out. So really nice card here. All right, time for another Annie card here. This is Firestorm. This one costs 6 and 1 red. It deals 3 to all enemy units on a battlefield. If you have your champion Annie on the board, it can go up to 4 or 5 or 6. And, it can top it off to 7 at a battlefield if the battlefield happens to be the Void Gate. So best case scenario, this one plus 4, 7 to all enemy units. It's freaking crazy good, man. And your final card out of the deck is actually going to be your signature. It's cool because this Annie, you're all spells, but your signature is your bear friend. Of course, if you guys know League of Legends, this is Timbers. Your signature. This one costs 8, 2 of any of your colors for a recycle, and 7 might. So this is a units. Timbers, when you play me, deal 3 to all units at a battlefield. Now, this is not a spell. However, it is an ability, which means it can be powered up with your other Annies on the board. So usually, because this is an 8 cost, you should at least have 1 Annie on the field. You'll be able to nuke something with this. It's insane. And then you just throw them on the field to do a lot of random stuff. So, man, this Annie, really nice. I think the only weakness is, once your opponent really gets a hold of the battlefield and you are somehow just slightly out of the range for KOing them with your effects, that's when you're going to be having a bad time. But if your opponent relatively runs a little low, maybe they go some wide because you do have a lot of AoE, then boom, you can easily, you know, play me to an open battlefield, play me to an open battlefield, stuff like that. And yeah, I really like this card. It's one of my favorite cards. It's because it does so much damage, and your opponent's like, oh, just take the cards, you know. So it's a really cool feeling. So anyways, guys, that is the Annie Dark Child deck that I am running. Let me know what you guys think, what you would add, what you would remove. Would love to see your guys' opinion. All right, make sure to like and sub. We're going to be covering every single champion, every single legend and champion. So thank you so much for watching. The website will have all this and more, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.